This year, I've flown a lot to London and back to Atlanta, sometimes even doing that twice in a week. I know the summer might seem like ages ago, but I had so much fun that I thought I'd let you see what I was up to there. My name is Ian Currey and this is Thinking Out Loud. Come on, let me tell you what I think. Every year on Horse Guards Parade, there are a number of big events, things like trooping the colour and beating the retreat. These events are hugely popular, but are so big that they really don't have a lot of space for spectators. The events would go on even if there were no one watching. But why? Well, this is England and that's what we do. Tradition, it's a thing. These guards are wearing ancient uniforms that work perfectly well for an army intending to fight on horseback. But there are very few who would think it was a good idea these days. Tradition, doing things because that's what we do. It's all part of being English. I'm going to let you see a bit of each of two events that I was amazed to be able to attend. The first one I'll bet that you'll recognise. This huge band is the same band that performs during the Trooping the Colour event that marks the monarch's official birthday. Yes, the king has two birthdays. The current monarch, King Charles III, was born on November the 14th, 1948. Now, of course, being king, he should have a nice birthday parade. And everyone will want to see him ride in the parade and cheer and wave. Yay! Of course, there'll be a big band and lots of shouting and saluting. But in the middle of November, it's cold, it's dark and likely to be raining. Who wants a birthday parade in the middle of winter? Well, being British, we think of things like that and come up with clever solutions. So that it's slightly more likely not to be raining and so that the soldiers can be seen in their famous red tunics rather than their winter grey uniforms, we all pretend it's the King's birthday on a convenient Saturday in June. In 2025, the King's pretend birthday will be on June the 21st, and this year it was June the 15th. Fun. The official, or pretend birthday, has been going on this way since 1748, so I don't expect it to change anytime soon. Now, almost as soon as one parade is over, rehearsals start for the next. The band is so big, in fact, that it really has a problem turning around without getting into a complete jumble. And so a couple of times a year, special parades are put on for no particular reason, mostly so that the band can practice the special manoeuvres they need to know for the King's pretend birthday. The particular manoeuvre that the band is performing is called the pinwheel. Now, the purpose of the complicated move is to change the whole direction of the band inside a very small area. I once asked how the pinwheel manoeuvre is taught and learned, but the person I asked said for him it was easy. He just had to follow the person in front of him, and if he wound up face to face with him, he'd done it wrong and everyone would notice. For every one of the musicians in that vast band, there are different moves they have to know. Once all the moves are put together, the end result is a band neatly arranged, having turned and facing a new direction. While the Guards band is good, very good, they aren't the very best. That honour goes to the Royal Marines. Their band is amazing, and I sort of have to say that because many years ago I was a drummer bugler and marched with one of these bands. This is the mass bands of the Royal Marines, and they are just the best. Ooh, I'll get all tingly just watching them. The move that I want you to watch here is how they shrink down from 20 wide, and that's a wide band, to just 10. Now the move is needed to allow the band to get through the narrow parts of the streets they're about to move on to. The band will then split into two to get past the dais before heading up the Mall to Buckingham Palace. The regimental march of His Majesty's Royal Marines dates back to 1838. I'm not sure who thinks they still own the copyright to it, but this being YouTube, I expect I'm about to find out. Now then, with all this precision and perfect drill, I'm duty-bound to point out at least one secret. During parades like this, the band often splits into several parts. As if by magic, the band can turn or whatever at exactly the right time and stay in step, even though they are a long way apart. But how does everyone know? How do they do it? With the Guards, you may remember hearing the bass drummer give a big thump on his drum to start the band moving again. The bass drummer is key to keeping everyone moving at the same time and not running into each other. I'll run this clip a couple of times to see if you notice anything. If you were just watching the parade, you probably wouldn't notice the bass drummer watching his leader, the drum major, all the way across the parade ground. Of all the musicians in this section of the band, only the bass drummer can see. Did you notice he's marching backwards, facing completely the other direction than everyone else? It's called hiding in plain sight. Nobody expects to see it, and so only those who know do. This is where things get a little technical, because sound travels relatively slowly. As sections of the bands march apart from each other, it becomes difficult to know which beat to follow, especially on Horse Guards Parade with buildings all around reflecting the sound. Things get really messy really fast. Now, by marching backwards, the bass drummer can hit his drum, setting the beat because of what he sees. When you know, you know. I must say that when I saw the bass drummer marching backwards, I wondered how many of the huge crowd would ever notice. Not many. The thing that jumped to mind, having marched that way with a crowd watching and yet not seeing what was right in front of them, was the biblical letter to the Hebrews. Let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus. Sometimes keeping our eyes on Jesus may feel kind of different. You may end up facing the opposite direction to everyone you know. People right around you may or may not notice as they go about their lives. But if they do notice, they'll wonder what on earth you're doing. Oh, look at them. They're marching backwards. They're doing it all wrong. Despite perhaps appearing to be working contrary to everyone else, the reality is, of course, that without such people, the whole show comes crashing down and turns into a big mess. In our illustration today, the band looks so good because one person marches the wrong way round, so that everyone can know the right thing to do. Just because everyone else is doing something doesn't mean it's right for you. Do what you know you should be doing, keeping your eyes on Jesus, however that may look to everyone else. Until next time, goodbye.